Hi guys, I hope you've been doing okay all by yourself. If you will get out your chapter 6 and just turn the pages as I go through these slides on the PowerPoint, then you will know what you need to memorize from each picture. So I'll give you a second to get your book and we'll get started. We are going to have quizzes over each section, but the very first quiz is going to be over bone structure that is on these pictures right here. I will circle the areas that you need to know. We did this back in biology, so some of this should be review. This is a picture of a long bone, like your humerus or femur. The very first thing to look at is these two words right here, epiphysis and diaphysis. The epiphysis refers to the ends of a long bone, and the diaphysis refers to the shaft. On the outside of a long bone, you have a connective tissue covering called periosteum. This is what the tendons and ligaments connect to, and you can tell if something is a live bone or a recently dead, from a recently dead organism, or if it's been dead a long time, whether this periosteum is present or not. So practice saying periosteum. The word parts are peri, means around, and osteo, bone. So this connective tissue goes around the bone. There is a similar type of connective tissue that is called endosteum, and it lines the cavity here. The name for the cavity, your bones are not solid. There is a cavity in the middle that is referred to as the medullary cavity, this term right here, and it is referring to this entire space that is inside here. In young organisms, this is filled with red marrow. In adult organisms, this is filled with yellow marrow, which is just fat. The other two things to remember are the two types of bone. Compact bone, you will see on the edge right here. And cancellous bone, you will see at the epiphyses, as well as lining the medullary cavity. You can sort of tell that this is the spongy bone. Spongy bone is just another name for cancellous bone. So these terms will be on your quiz. The next thing, this is just the same picture that you just saw, except it is from an adult. So this space right here would contain yellow marrow as opposed to red marrow. All right, I will let you review these terms one more time. Periosteum, connective tissue on the outside. Endosteum, connective tissue lining the medullary cavity. Epiphysis is just another word for the ends of the bone. Easy to remember because it starts with an E. Diaphysis is that long section, the shaft of the bone. The rest you can go through on your own. This is a picture of the microstructure. So on the diagram that I have for you, if you were to go through this little part right here and cut a little chunk of compact bone, then it would show this structure right here. So if you're looking at compact bone, the main thing to remember about it is that the structural and functional unit that makes up compact bone is referred to as an osteon. You may have learned it in the past as Haversian systems. All it is these little concentric circle structures. They look kind of like tree trunks, all next to each other. Now, let's go a little bit smaller. This is an actual micrograph of an osteon. So, here's the outer perimeter of it. And the terms that I want you to know: central canal is just this part in the middle of each osteon. This is where small blood vessels can run through. These little rings are referred to as lamellae. They sort of look like the annual rings of a tree trunk. And then you'll see these tiny little lines. These little lines are where branches of the vessels that run through the central canal may branch off. Now, you have probably heard of the name for a bone cell is called an osteocyte. Osteo, bone, cyte, cell. These osteocytes are found in these little pockets. You see these little things, they almost look like the shape of an eyeball. Those are called lacunae. And inside each of these little spaces, you would find an osteocyte. So, once again, the entire structure is referred to as an osteon. It has a central canal. It has tiny little spaces called lacunae that contain the bone cells, osteocytes. Now, you already know that every single cell in your body has to receive a delivery of the reactants for cellular respiration. Once again, we see the equation for cellular respiration. So they have to be connected to your bloodstream, both to deliver the reactants and to take away these waste products. So these little lines right here have capillaries running through them that take these supplies to the osteocyte. These little lines right here are like tiny canals, and they are called canaliculi. So go ahead and say that a couple of times. It's fun to say, canaliculi. And all they are tiny canals. So you can see that in the word. And they just branch off from the central canal. And that allows this osteocyte that is sort of walled in, this hard matrix of bone, to receive nutrients and oxygen. Okay, the other type of bone, the cancellous bone, we are not going to worry about the microstructure of that as much, except for one term. This cancellous bone here, if you were to enlarge it, you would see these struts. They're like supporting struts that are called trabeculae. This has a lot of air in it, as you can see, much more air than in compact bone, but the main distinguishing structure are these struts called trabeculae. And there's just a bigger picture of that.